We're starting our fish sips again.
Have some?
You're not gonna like it. You want some water?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
And 2 yogurts.
Okay, you're not gonna like this.
And a plastic milk, please.
A glass of milk? So 2 yogurts and a glass of milk?
Yeah.
Okay, eat your food. Thank you, Mommy.
Thank you, Mom.
You're welcome to get it, Mommy. By popular demand, I'm gonna teach you guys how to make rice. Again, because TikTok doesn't let me pin my videos anymore, so my rice tutorial is like a million videos down. So I'm gonna do an updated one for you guys. First up, I gotta do a refill. Got 1. We got about 2 cups. Let me fill this one up. In case you guys didn't know, my husband and I used to own our own brand of rice.
Right here.
I know you're right there. I named it Athena. I came up with the design and the logo and everything. And the reason we had our own rice brand was because it was cheaper to have our own rice being imported than to buy the rice that was locally available at the time. So we actually had 2 cargo containers full of rice that we would use for our restaurants. We would also sell them to local Afghan markets in the area. Unfortunately, we are down to our last 10 bags. We haven't sold them in the market for quite a while now, probably since before my son was born. So whatever I have is just my personal supply. We're almost done with my supply and I'm gonna be so sad because I'm gonna toot my own horn for a little bit. Our rice was so good. I have people messaging me to this day if I have any more of my rice left. And the thing about this is it expired in 2022, but technically rice doesn't expire at all since it's dried good. It's just best before that time. So even if I wanted to, I wouldn't sell it to anybody. So she is our pride and joy, but unfortunately it is no longer available to buy. Other brands I do recommend are Aubara. Well, that is a good brand. I believe it's called Saffron. That one's also a good brand. And Zebra. I think those are the ones that come to mind first. Just remember that it has to be basmati Sela rice. For ours, it's super basmati Sela rice, but basmati Sela works just as well. I still have no idea how to open these, and if I ever get this on the first try, I think that'll be the day where my frontal whatever cortex, prefrontal cortex has developed fully, because I can never do this. I think I already messed it up. Hi, Dada!
Hi, Dada. What up, baby?
Family hug, family hug, family hug, family hug, family hug. I love you.
I love you. Mommy, and I love Yako.
Let's try this side.
Okay, eat your food
Did I
first.
do it? I did it. Took me like 5 attempts. I actually have cooking instructions written right here on the side where the nutritional facts are too, just in case anybody needed a little bit of help. Let's take her out. And I'll finally teach you how to make some rice instead of talking this much. I don't really like talking this much. And since we had 2 cups in here, I'm actually gonna do 3 cups. That's about the amount that we need to fill us up for today and also for my husband's lunch tomorrow. Time to go wash this. I'm sure you've already heard, wash your rice until it runs clear. For Afghan rice specifically, you want as little starch in your rice as possible, since starch is the reason why your rice gets sticky in the first place. Afghans don't want sticky rice unless they're specifically making sticky rice, but the main goal is to always have the longest, fluffiest grain possible. So not only do you need to remove all that excess dirt from whatever factory this came from, you also need to just get rid of all that starch. I think 3 times is like the perfect amount. So wash this about 3 times with warm to hot water. You don't really want to do cold water. The hot water really helps. This is so hot, it's actually burning me. This time the water is pretty clear. Obviously you can't get it like super clear. There's going to be a little bit murky every single time, but that's a good amount. Right after it's been washed very thoroughly, you're going to take some super hot boiling water. You're just going to pour it right over it. The amount doesn't really matter. Just cover it enough to where if the rice expands, the water is still on top of it. Ideally, you want to prep your rice before you do anything as soon as you step into the kitchen to cook. And since usually you don't eat rice by itself, by the time you're finished making your side and cooking it, your rice will be done soaking and ready to cook too. That way you can be as efficient as possible. The first thing you do is soak your rice when you cook. Remember that. So we're just going to leave this to the side and we'll come back in about 30 minutes to an hour whenever I'm ready. Honestly, it's been about 30 minutes. I could have waited longer, but I'm too impatient. So we're just going to start. You want a non-stick pot just so the crispy rice on the bottom can detach easier and it'll be so yummy. But if you don't, that's fine. You could just use a pot like this, like one of those old school Afghan pots too. But it has to be a pot, obviously not a pan. Make your life easier by pre-boiling your water. Just very simple. The reason Afghan rice is some of the most flavorful rice you've ever had, even though it's very plain, because of the fact that we salt our rice properly. Think of this step as salting your pasta water when you're adding pasta in it. All of that salt doesn't get used in the actual dish because eventually we're going to strain the water and all that salt will also release too. But you're just adding a little bit of flavor inside of your rice grains as they're expanding with the water. So salt your damn water. I would say that was like a tablespoon and a half. The measurement doesn't matter too much, just generously salt your water. This is the soaked rice we have. You want to drain the water that's in this because again, this water has starch, this water does not. You want to remove all the starch that was in here. Take some sort of slotted spoon, make sure all the water gets drained off, just drop it in there. Just keep doing that until you have every last grain of your rice in here. In between, I like to go back to the sink and get rid of all this extra water too. Pretty much drained all the water out, so I'm just gonna do this little maneuver right here just to get every, oh my God, Yaqub, I'm not talking to you. Just to get every last grain out of here. That's it. You only wanna stir this one time just to get all the salt and everything incorporated. And then don't touch your rice again, okay? Your rice is the most fragile in this state right here. So the more you stir it around, the more your rice pieces are gonna start breaking, and then you'll have half grains of rice instead of full long grains. Honestly, you could add oil or you could not add oil. I genuinely don't think it makes that big of a difference, but add some if you want, I guess. It's 9:24 right now. I will be back and I'll let you know how long this has been sitting for because I don't normally time my rice. I just look at it and then that's when I strain it. But I'll let you know. It's been exactly 10 minutes and our rice is finally ready to strain. You know that by put a grain of rice. It's easily squished. Put a colander or something in your sink and then strain your rice. I like to spray it with some cold water so it doesn't get too mushy in here. A lot of people will tell you to never do that. A lot of people will be okay with it. It is what it is. I don't think a little splash of cold water is going to do anything. From this point on, you can make this into just plain challow, which is just plain white rice. You can make it into like a colored rice, and the way you do that is you kind of caramelize / burn some sugar, add some salt, water, and oil to it, and then color the rice that way. I kind of suck at that because I always burn my sugar way too much and it gets a little bit like bitter. You could also go the OG Marweezy way. Instead of coloring my rice with the whole sugar situation, I figured out a backup, which was to use this Maggi seasoning. But I realized you only have to use the Europe imported one, not the one that's made in the US, because that one stinks. This one tastes really good. You could also just drizzle this on top. We're just gonna make plain old white rice today. You take a cup, put about a cup of hot water into it, about half a tablespoon of salt, and then between 1/4 to 1/2 cup of oil into this. Please put a good amount of oil in your damn challow, okay? And then just stir this up and have it ready right next to your rice. We're gonna start her up again. Even though you have some oil in there, put some oil on the bottom. That way you get some crispy rice. Not too much. And then just add your rice. Not a single grain spilled this time. Make sure you get every single last piece. Take your rice, mound it up into like a little mountain. You want to poke some holes into your rice. This is going to help the steam from the bottom go all the way up to the top, and it'll allow the middle to also get some air, so the middle part of your rice doesn't get all mushy. So yes, the holes are important. This is when we can add our mixture. You just go right over top. If your hole's closed up, make a hole again. At this point, you could add some cumin on top of it. You could add some garam masala on top of it. You could add masala deg on top of it, which is like a cumin, coriander, or whatever mix. Just to make your rice smell good. That's not really going to affect the taste too much. It's more for the smell of it. I'm just going to add a little bit of cumin on top. I promise a tea towel is one of the most important steps in making sure your rice gets super fluffy. Whenever the steam rises up, it gets trapped onto your glass or your aluminum foil, and it makes water droplets, and your water droplets fall back into the rice. When you use fabric, the fabric helps trap the steam, and it also will stop any water droplets from falling back into your rice and therefore making your rice mushy. You take your towel, fold it with your pinky, hold it with your thumb, stretch it all over, and then just close it right on top. If you're scared of the towel burning, put it on a burner that's smaller than the one you're using. If the burner is small, the flames won't go high enough to reach your tea towel. If you're super scared, just use a paper towel, snip it, make it into a circle to where there's nothing poking out, if that's what you really want to do. But I promise, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. We're gonna let this go on high for about 2 minutes, just so that the cup of water that you added in there can turn into steam. And I'll put it on medium-low for maybe another 5 more minutes, and then on low until you're ready to serve it. Try not to turn it off until you're ready to serve if you want your rice to be really fluffy and warm at the same time. See you in 2 minutes. 2 minutes later, low, medium-ish. Actually, like more low than medium, honestly. And then we'll be back in like 5 minutes. Whoa, monster Yaqub, oh no! Ah! Ah! Monster Yaqub! Okay, you actually look really creepy, don't do that. Oh, done. You see how it trapped a whole bunch of water in there? And then time for the fluff. It's time for the fluff. Take it right in the middle, fluff it around from the middle, fluff it around. Oh my god, this looks so good. I can't wait to eat it with some chicken. I didn't have it on high heat for too long, just because I'm the only person that eats the crispy todigi at the bottom, the crispy rice on the bottom, and I don't want the rice to go to waste. But if you left the bottom on high a little bit longer, the bottom would get really crispy. I just have a little piece of the side crispiness right here. Oh my gosh, so good. I love crispy rice. I really hope that answered all of your guys' rice questions. And hopefully TikTok will let me pin this to the top. Marweezy got educational today.